So it was in Slovakia, and my first touch was in 2015, but introduced to me by a friend of mine that was more into these multi-level projects, and he did some Ponzi's before. So whenever he told me about Bitcoin, I was like, thank you. I don't want your Ponzi. This is shit. But I ignored it for 2 years. So basically, I really got into it in 2017 when a friend of mine who was doing a website for our company came to our office and we were just chatting. And I asked him, okay, Peter, so how's life? And he told me, you know what, recently I don't do so many websites. I'm just, studying Bitcoin and learning about it. I'm like, oh my God, Peter, they got you as well. Jesus Christ. He was like, no. Let me tell you, it's different than you think. And he wasn't telling me about the whole price thing, but he was more telling me about how Bitcoin can really revolutionize the commerce and countries where money is failing, how it can really help people to store their wealth. So I was really interested into that, but still very skeptical. So I came home and I was like, okay, I'm going to do some research, but more for a reason that I wanted to disprove Peter. So the more I went in, the more I'm like, damn, this is interesting. Like, that really makes sense. So I ended my research at like 3 a.m. saying that, okay, damn, I need to go to sleep. And the next morning, I woke up, I called my colleagues in the work saying like, guys, I'm not going to work for a day, maybe for 2-3 days, because I want to study Bitcoin. They were like, what the fuck? What you gonna do? Like, no, I'm just going to study Bitcoin. Just you can get by for a day without me. So I just jumped into everything I could find, videos, articles, podcasts. There was not so much resources in Slovak language at the time, so I was consuming everything that was on the English side of it. That was my journey. So I got pretty quickly into the rabbit hole and never left it.
Well, I'm sure Andras Antonopoulos played a vital role in those early ages. I mean, with 17, as you said, there wasn't too much, educational content and like stuff that really kind of connected the dots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very relatable on mind as well. But I wanted to ask, so how did you steer it into education? Because there's so many things that you can do, getting into Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
May that be if you're a programmer, either contribute to the core or build something on top, like a layer 2 or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different factors, but education's one of the things as I mentioned it sometimes, it's not the sexiest of subjects, right? Because people think of education, it's boring. You're sitting in a lecture and you're being, lectured about something. But at the same time, I believe, even though it's not sexy, it's the most important, right? So you can't have something as the most important and the sexy in a single thing. But
yeah,
how did you were you passionate about education before you entered Bitcoin? How did you kind of find your way in there?
The education element came years before I really stumbled upon Bitcoin. What got me into it was that I used to teach and tutor mathematics, physics, and English for some years. This was basically my first, let's say, job or a way to earn money, because I was teaching my classmates mathematics, or older students, younger students. And this way, when my friends were, earning 5 euros an hour somewhere with the hard jobs, I was teaching for 20 euros an hour. And I loved the job. And I loved the whole element of explaining kind of difficult concepts to kids. They were told by their parents and teachers that they don't have genes on mathematics. They were getting the worst grades. So then the parents called me like, hey, Dušan, can you please come? They just need to pass the exam. That's it. Nothing more. When I came there, I did a kind of little diagnostics with the kid. I realized it's totally not about the kid. It's about it. Like the teacher is really not paying attention to them. He's really rude and everything. So just basically changed the view how the kid looks at the math. And I just solved a couple of things with them, showed them different angles to look at it. And suddenly they were getting one of the best grades. And the parents were like, what did you do to my kid? I was like, I did nothing. I just showed them a different way to look at it. And suddenly what was the most inspirational for me was the kids were getting more self-confident with other areas of their lives, because suddenly they realized it's not about the genes, it's about the work you put in. And the parents were paying them more respect as well, which was beautiful to see as well. So those were the years. I was about 17, 18 around that time, where I was like, damn, I just really, really love this. So since that time, when I went from high school to university, I was continuously teaching math, physics, and English, and then I stumbled about Bitcoin years after it.
Amazing. Well, it's nice that you kind of transitioned. You found something you're truly passionate about, something you're really good at. Because I totally can relate to that, Dušan. Like with education, it's not so much like how much knowledge the teacher has. It's the approach that he has to teaching And it should be teaching and not lecturing. A lot of teachers, they kind of just like are very aggressive and they're like, this is how it's done, like learn it. That's why kids, I guess, today are to a large majority are uninterested in subjects because it's just the approach is not right for them. And yeah, as you said, the parents, I can just imagine them. They're like, Dušan, like, did you give some magic potion to my kid? Like, he loves this subject now. Like, what did you do with him?
Yeah, man, it was really interesting, and it was happening with like every parent. Like they were, because they didn't have the genes on math, but it was kind of like they gave up on themselves to learn math, so they were thinking the same for their kids, and they kind of couldn't comprehend that the kids can be very good at math, right? So it was very interesting to watch the parents and kind of be humbled that their kids can really do it. So it was for me kind of like, I really also wanted to show the parents like, hey, I want to show your parent that you can really do that. So it was kind of also a motivation of a kid as well. Like, I can really do it.
Ready to explore the full AmityAge portfolio? We support Bitcoiners at every stage of their journey. Unlock liquidity without selling your SATA through our concierge Bitcoin-backed loans. Experience seamless, private transactions with our OTC financial services, or build your own hash power with our curated mining solutions. From education to infrastructure, AmityAge helps you build long-term value in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Visit our website to learn more.